us sitting here, we have, many common things. One is that all of us are human, right? Or are there any aliens around? Maybe, we have any TEDxUET, But, all of us who are sitting here, we also enjoy one more thing. And that is, we love TED Talks, right? We love knowledge, we love to promote knowledge, and we love to share our knowledge with other people. My name is Umar Anjum. I'm part of TED Global. I'm a global translator, and I am a manager for Urdu language. And I'm here to invite you to become a part of that. I'm going to talk about what is TED OTP, why, and why not. Basically, it stands for Open Translation Project. It is a global volunteer effort to subtitle TED Talks. And the idea is to enable inspiring ideas to crisscross languages and borders, right? So if you have a great idea, we would like everyone to listen, and maybe someone can, get inspiration from that and become a part of it. Okay, so how it started. So idea was like, if I'm watching a TED Talk and, I like it very much, but I want to share it with, someone, who does not understand English. So, and this is actually my TED story as well, that I was listening to, Sir Ken Robinson's talk, How Schools Kill Creativity, and I loved it so much that I wanted to show it to my uncle who lives in a village. He's also, he also works in the education sector, but, his background is different from me. So I thought I should show it to him. So I took an initiative from, on my own, and, I contacted TED, and I said, I want to translate this talk and show it to, someone who does not understand English. And then they said, we have already some project like this, and then they referred to me that, Open Translation Project. So what TED did was that, they developed a system to allow volunteers to translate talks into any language. And so far the stats, we have 104 languages, and they are continuing, so 100 plus languages. We have more than 16,000 translators and counting, and we have more than 57,000 talks which have been, subtitled into, more than 100 languages. And thus, came the idea of TED Urdu as well. So far we are a team of 38 translators, and we are increasing, and I hope that by end of today, we will have at least a dozen more. And we have so far translated 80 TED Talks, and we are counting. But all of us, we like to compete. We like to compete with our arch rivals. I'm sure, like all of us know who are our arch rivals in cricket. India. Yes, in India. So with India. So can you guess that how many talks Indians have translated in Hindi? 200. Okay. They have translated, 186 talks, and they're counting, and they have 65 translators. So my first, mission is to beat India. So that's why I need your help. But can anyone guess that who is leading in this translation project? Which language? China. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. USA. No. Okay. So the language which is leading in this translation project is one of the oldest languages of the world, and that is Hebrew. So talk about competing in science and technology. So there are 300 more than 300 translators, and they have translated more than 1,600 talks. So when we talk about competition, we should compete in science and technology, and I think this platform of UET is the best platform to recruit volunteers who can do that. Okay, so the process, how it works? It works very simply. That TED provides you with a transcript. So a complete original transcript is given to you, and then you translate in Urdu, and then one of the other volunteers, they review the talk, And then, one of the TED language coordinators or managers like myself or some other member from the staff, approves that. So this is, a three-way process. Okay. So here is an example. Can you please?
This is really a 2-hour presentation I did at high school.
So as you can see that, as the TED Talk starts, the subtitle starts appearing, at the bottom. So it's like, like watching a French movie or, any other movie which you don't understand, but you can, get grasp of the whole idea with the help of, the subtitles. So these subtitles not only helps, someone who cannot understand English, but also people who have, hearing, difficulties. So it is also very useful. Can you please stop and move? Okay. So, but TED does not leave you alone in that process. So we have, tools like we have, on TED.com. We have, so many tutorials, which help you from signing in for this, volunteer project, starting the talk, subtitling the talk. So, we help you. Then we have, Amara, which is, the platform which we use to translate the talks. And then we have, Facebook groups. So, there is one, I translate the talks. Anyone, who translate talks globally, becomes a part of that Facebook group. Then we have, a specific group for, TED Urdu as well. Okay. And what are the requirements for, becoming a part of TED Urdu volunteer is that you should be fluently bilingual in English and Urdu. And you should know how to type in Urdu and English, but typing in Urdu is not as difficult as it sounds. When I started as a volunteer, I had no idea, but I learned it in 2.5 days. So you simply download Urdu phonetics keyboard, and then you become an expert in no time. But I think the most important thing is commitment, which I don't think you guys get. So I won't talk about that. Okay. Every nation in the world who has progressed, they have used their own language, right? And they have strengthened their own language, that their language is able to meet the technological requirements of that era. So similarly, by translating for TED Urdu, you are strengthening Urdu language. Then it gives new knowledge not only to someone who were unable to understand that English talk, but it also gives you, while translating, a lot of new knowledge. So for example, the best thing which I learned by translating TED Talks is that as it was, they were saying in one of the videos that every time the world is changing, it is changing for the worst. And all of us, at some point of time, we start to lose hope. Ki kya ho raha hai, kya hoga dunya. But when I was translating a TED Talk, I learned about a small kid from a village of Kenya. He was जैसे हमारे यहाँ फिर रहे होते हैं आम जो भेड़ बकरियाँ चराते हैं, वो वैसा बच्चा था। और उसने एक जहाज को ऊपर से गुजरते देखा और उसने सोचा क्या कभी ऐसा वक्त आ सकता है कि मैं उस जहाज के अंदर बैठूं। एंड क्या हुआ कि कुछ अरसे बाद उसने कुछ ऐसा किया कि he was in that plane and he was flying to USA and he was part of a TED talk. So that gave me the belief that the things which we think impossible can be possible. And one very good advantage is that the name of TED looks very good on your CV. And I personally benefited from it in a good way, that your potential employers or someone when they see, okay, so you work for TED, so what type of work do you do for TED? And something voluntarily always looks so. Okay, and besides that, TED makes so they have this dedicated translators page. So your name, your picture will look and will be listed here. And when you complete your first published talk, it is published. Then they give you a page of your own. Then all your work which you do will appear on that page. And plus that if you do a lot of translations, then you are eligible to apply to become attend one of the TED conferences. So for example, the next conference is happening in Rio, Brazil. So if you were a translator like me, you could have applied and you could be a part of it for free. So not only they pay for your travel, they pay for all of your expenses as well. So great. बहुत बड़ा knowledge है. Okay, and what happens is that when anybody in the world they listen to your TED talk with your translation. So if you can see here that your name appears. So Urdu translation by Fahad Zaki and reviewed by Sayyid Irtazaq. So your name also appears. So a chance to get famous is there. Okay. So if you are ready, it's very easy. You go to TED.com, create your account, and apply. Thank you.